Okay, I'm going to add door and window openings. I'll show you how to do them so that you can add all of yours. And I just want to turn on my 3D foundation just to get a good look at my building, study it, and really appreciate the progress. And one thing I do want to say is never try to model everything at once because it'll stress you out. It will make you anxious. Just step by step, slowly but surely, before you know it, you'll have your building. Takes a little bit of time, but then what doesn't? All right, time to continue. I think I'm going to start with this door right here. Oh, and by the way, notice how that opening, when I created the opening, it also placed that brick material here. Now, that doesn't matter. It's all right. Maybe we change it later if it's going to be visible, but for now, it's okay. So I'm going to just orbit like this, and I'm going to switch my style over to shaded just to make it easier to follow. I'm going to start with my frame. And to create the frame, I actually need to show you a new tool, and it's this one over here called Follow Me. Sorry, I was on the wrong one. So this is Follow Me. That's what we're going to be using. So I need to draw 3 lines to just give me the outline of this frame. So I'll go ahead and type L for line. I'm going to start right here, take it up, and if you need to, just orbit a little bit so you can see that a little better. Take it across. And I always like to move the cursor out to make sure that I'm still drawing lines. I want to see that rubber banding effect, and then I'll go ahead and click right here. Done, and then spacebar. Now watch this. I'm going to turn off my 3D walls, and I'll turn off my 3D foundation. And this is what I'm left with. And this is a nice way, I find, to isolate the area or just what it is that you want to model right now. Takes away those visual disturbances, as I like to think of them. All right, so now what I'd like to do is model or give myself my frame. And for a moment, let me just bring back my A wall layer, and then let me also bring back my A plan layer. Now remember, here's the frame. And if you want, if you'd like, we can model it exactly the way you see it there. And what are those dimensions? One dimension from this endpoint to that one is 2 inches by 5. There we go. So I'll draw a rectangle that's 2 by 5. So let me turn off my plan and my wall layer. And I'll go ahead and start drawing a rectangle. I'm going to draw a rectangle from here. And I'm going to go back to using those coordinate inputs. You see how right now it's showing me my dimension would be 2 inches by 2 inches, but I want it to be 2 inches by 5. So I'm going to type in 2, comma, 5, enter. And it gives me that shape. And if you want, use the tape measure and just measure to make sure that you have it at 2 inches by 5 inches, which I do. So I'll tap the escape key, spacebar, and continue. So this is what I want to see. I want to see that frame profile, and then I want to also see the outline of the entire opening. And now I'll go over to the Follow Me tool. So I click on Follow Me, one click, and then look at the lower left-hand corner. It says click the profile that you want to extrude. This right here is going to be the profile. You give that one click. As soon as you do that, look what it says. Move cursor along the desired extrude path. So interesting things are happening. You see that? So I'm going to zoom out until I see the entire outline. And I'm just going to take my cursor, follow the edge up, follow it across, and follow it coming down. And when I get to the end point here, I click. And just like that, I have constructed the frame. And then before I forget, triple click. Sorry, let me tap the space bar first. Triple click, right click, and make group. Got it. Now let's see. I'll turn on my walls and I can see that it's flush with my walls, but I want to put it pretty much in the same place that I had it in my architectural drawing. So I'm going to turn on my A walls and my A plan, and then I'm going to turn on my X-ray mode here. And that's the group. So watch this. If I type M, I just want to move it from this endpoint over to that endpoint so it lines up just like that. Great. I'm going to turn off A plan and my A walls, and then also turn off X-ray. And then I'll tap the spacebar. And now to continue, I need to put in my door, or actually both doors. So to do this, I will go ahead and turn off my 3D walls again because I just want to focus on this frame and work with it. And I know that both of my doors, they are 3 feet wide. And I know that the midpoint here is at 3 feet. So here's how I'm going to model my doors. I'm going to draw a rectangle from this endpoint right here. I'm going to get in real close, give that one click, bring it up, shift and orbit here with my wheel mouse. And notice how it wants to keep going along the flat surface there. But as soon as it finds this midpoint, it changes. And now it's oriented to the green axis, which is what I want. And I want it to find the midpoint. And I just move my cursor slowly. And once it finds it, I give it a click. Done. Then I can go ahead and type P for push pull, click on it. And it doesn't matter if you take it in or out. In fact, I'm going to bring it out on purpose because I need to place my door within the frame at the right location. So now that I have it here, I'm going to type a distance of 1.5 and enter. That door is now 1.5 inches thick. I tap my space bar, double click, actually no, triple click, right click, and make a group. And then, because I don't want to use X-ray, I'm just going to come down here like this. Let me angle it. There we go, like that. And type M for move. And I'll go from the midpoint here to the midpoint there. And now that door is situated right in the middle. Now, if you want to get fancy, you're more than welcome to, like putting in a window here. That's fine. Let me do this first. Let me tap the space bar. And I want to put a material on my door. So I'm going to go over to my materials here, and I think I want to go with wood for now. Might change it later, who knows? And I'll go with, let's say, this wood cherry original. Click that, and then select my door. Now, notice how it doesn't look like wood cherry. Remind yourself that you need to switch over to the shaded with textures, and then you'll see the material. I had that turned off. All right. Now, I want to give my door frame a color also. And to do that, I'm going over to my colors, and I'll find a dark color that can complement my door. And I think I'll go with this color here and give that a click. And then I'll tap spacebar. And what I said about getting fancy with the door, watch this. I'm going to double click the group. And because I just want to see the door, I'm going to come up here to view, component edit, hide the rest of the model. And now I don't have to look at the frame. I can focus on just the door. And then I'm going to switch this over also to shaded. Just again, to be able to focus on the door. And what I'd like to do is make a nice big glass door here, or put glass into my door. So watch this. I'm going to go to offset. And I'll click on the edge right here and I'll bring it in. And let's say as I'm moving, I'm looking at my distance down there in my lower right-hand corner. And I go, okay, how about approximately 6 inches? So I'll type 6 and enter. And I know that at the bottom, I may want to give myself a little bit more space, only because I don't want anybody kicking the glass with their foot. So I'm going to tap the space bar. Sorry, I'm going to hit the escape key. Okay, let's try this again. Double click inside, click off of it, double click again, and there we go. But I want to pick this line. And then I'm going to type M for move. I'm going to click right here, use my up arrow key to constrain to blue axis, take it up, and let's say it was at 6 inches, and now I want to move it up. Sure, maybe another 6, 8 inch. How about 8 inches? I'll do 8. So there we go. That's what I want to do. And then I'll go ahead and tap my space bar and then click on that surface, type P for push pull, and just push through to the back side. See how it's hitting that face. I'll go ahead and click. And that gives me the opening that I want. Now I tap the space bar, click outside of the group, and then finally add the glass. So I come over here to draw a rectangle, and I'll go from one endpoint here to the other endpoint there, like that. I will push pull this, and I'm going to make it exactly 1 inch. So I type 1 and then space bar, triple click, right click, and then make a group out of that. And then come over here to my materials. I'll go glass and mirror, and I'll select glass, translucent blue, click on it. There we go. And then I want to move it in place, and I want to put it right in the middle of the frame. So I tap the space bar. I go to my X-ray mode, and then I'll zoom in right here. Type M for move from this midpoint over to that midpoint. There we go. And then tap the space bar, turn off X-ray mode, and this is my door. And I know that I have the same door on the other side. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the glass, which is already highlighted. Let me click off of it. Not highlighted. Okay. Click on the glass, hold down my shift key, select the door. I want to take both of these individual groups, right click, and make one group. So I click on make group, done. And now this is acting as a group. Now watch this. I basically just want to copy it over to the other side, but I can also mirror it. And the mirror tool is really neat. So if you come over here to your tools, mirror is going to be sitting right up here. And that's flip. And you can also find it right there. So that's the flip tool. So I'm going to click on flip. And now you'll see 3 planes, red, green, blue. And I want to flip it, but I also want to make a copy when it flips. So I'm going to tap the control key, and now I have the plus sign. And I want to flip the door, but let me pan over this way. I want to flip it so that it's over exactly on the other side. And I want this plane, the red plane, to be right at the edge of the door. So watch this. I'm going to zoom in close here. Takes a little getting used to, a little bit of practice. I click and drag the red plane over until it touches the endpoint here. And then I release. And because I had it set to copy, it makes a copy on the opposite side. So I only had to draw that door and the glass once, and I was able to copy it over to the other side. And now I can tap the space bar, and I have, and click away from the objects, and I have my door or my double door opening. And here's one other thing I'd like to do. I really like this assembly, and I want to take all of this and use it on the other side. I want my doors to match. And because I know I want them to match in terms of color, in terms of style, all of it, I'm going to make a component. So I'm going to select everything here like this. And it tells me that I have 3 groups selected. Yes, 3 groups because the door is one and I have 2 of them, and then the frame. So that gives me the 3. I'm going to right click, and instead of making a group like I've been doing before, I'm going to make something called a component. And this is similar to making, say, a block in AutoCAD. So I'm going to click on Make Component. And then I have this window that comes up. Definition. What's the name I want to give it? I'm going to call it door and dash double in case I have a door dash single. So I'll call this door double, and then I'll say with glass. And I could put that in the description, and you can add anything to the description if you want, but I'm going to leave it just like that. And then down here it says replace the selection with a component. The answer is yes, it's checked. And then you just simply create. And what you've done is you've created a new component, as you can see here, one component in the model. And it's great because now if you go to your components here, you'll see that it's listed. And if you wanted to, you just click it and bring it over and you can place it anywhere else that you want. And we're going to do that in just a second. As soon as I bring back my view of my walls. So let me scroll down here, turn on my 3D walls. And there we go. And there's the other opening. And all I'm going to do is come over here. There's my door double with glass. I can give it a click and just bring it in and place it right here. Now, notice how I wasn't able to really to pick an insertion point. That's okay. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to put it right here for now. Let's say right at that endpoint. And then I'm going to turn on my A-plan layer. Now, I'll go ahead and move it from this endpoint here to that endpoint right there. And if it doesn't snap, turn on X-ray. Sometimes that helps. There we go. And now it'll snap to that endpoint and then zoom out. And you've got your doors in place. Now, here's what's really, really nice about this. I'm going to turn off X-ray mode. And I'm also going to turn off my 3D walls because I want you to see something. And then I'm going to turn on my shaded with textures. Okay. Let's say I didn't want that color for the glass, for example. Or yeah, let's just stick with the glass for now. I can double click in this group, the component rather. And when I double click in there, now I have one group and I have another group. And I can double click in here and now I have that group, which is the glass, and this is the door. See how those are separate. And notice what it's showing me also on the opposite side is it's still showing me that same door because it's part of the same component. Now, what I'm going to do is come up here to my materials, and now I have a lot of tabs expanded, so I'm going to collapse components, and then I'll go over here to my glass. Let's say I want instead a gray glass. So I click on gray, and then I click on the glass. And see how it changed in both locations. Now, if I tap my spacebar, click outside, notice how it only changed the glass on one of them. Had I thought about this, I could have made a component out of that door as well, but I didn't, and that's all right. All I have to do is double click in here, and then that glass, I just come over here and say, change that glass color material to this one. And then I tap the escape key, and then I use my space bar, click away, and notice how it changed both because they are the same component. Let me give you another example. Let's say I want to change my door frame color. I can come over here to my colors, and let's say I want to pick something, mm, a different color. And I'm trying to think what I would go with. How about this color? Just to show you this. I pick that, and I want to actually, first of all, let me tap the escape key. I want to make sure I'm in the group. There we go. Okay, let me click away. All right, now if I pick it, it does highlight it. That's what I wanted. All right, I can pick this material and then apply it there. See how it applies it to both, which is really, really nice. So I'm going to go back to a brown color like that, changes it there. Tap the escape key, tap the space bar, click outside of the group, and then turn on my 3D walls and 3D foundation. And this is what I have. Now here's where also, if you want, this is where we can get really particular. You see how that uh, concrete is coming into my building? So watch this. I will turn off, I'll hide the component here, right click and hide. And I'm just going to draw a line. And I should be, before I even draw it, I should be on this group. So let me tap the escape key. And I'm going to double click that group. Oh, and it's isolating the objects, it's hiding everything. So here, I'll go over to view, component edit, and do not hide the rest of the model. There we go. And now I'm in the group. I'll just draw a line from that midpoint over to this midpoint like this. Okay. But I'm not done. I'm going to turn off my 3D found. Nope. I'm going to turn off my 3D walls. And I'm also going to turn off the A plan. See, so all I did is I just drew that one line. So I need to come back now and right here, constrain to green, click, and then I'll come over to this side. Let me tap the escape key. And then I'll draw a line from this endpoint straight over to that endpoint. And then tap E for erase and erase this line segment. And notice how the wood extends out. And this is just me being real particular, but I just want to show this to you. And then I'll go ahead and tap the space bar, click outside of the group, turn on my 3D walls. And then I did hide that double door, didn't I? So I'll go over here to edit and I'll unhide all. And I'll tell you what, maybe now's a good time to create a new tag like this. And I'll call this one 3D doors. Enter. I'll take this door and I will come up here to my entity info. I'll tag it under 3D doors. I'll take this one and tag that under 3D doors. Okay. So those are my exterior doors, and I'll leave it in your hands to put in the door over here. It's a same thing with the frame, and also it's a single door. If you want to put glass or keep it solid, it's entirely up to you, whatever you'd like to do. I may model it later and you may see it as a part of my model. But right now what I'd like to do is just come over here and model these bifold doors because these go quick. So I'm going to turn on my A plan tag layer, and then here's my bifold doors. So I'll just go ahead and start drawing lines. Now, I really would like to draw rectangles, but here's what happens. If I go to draw a rectangle and I select this endpoint and I try to bring it across, look at what it wants to do. It may accidentally want to draw that rectangle for you, but I'm noticing, and this was not possible before, it's actually going to draw the rectangle at an angle. So I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click. It wasn't possible before, so SketchUp has grown up a bit here. What I was going to say is go ahead and type L for line and just draw lines like this to get that shape. But Looks to be working. All right. Okay. So that's done. Now notice, it looks like they're disappearing. Why? Because they are coplanar. This surface that I just drew, those rectangles, are coplanar with the other surface. So this is where it comes in real handy to be able to take that tag and turn it off. And you don't have to look at it. And now I will go ahead and push pull, and I'll take this surface, take it straight up to the underside of the door or the opening right there. Take this one, take it up, let it lock into that endpoint. Great. And then tap the spacebar, triple click, right click, and make a group. And then I'm going to add a material. So let's see, wood again for me. And maybe I will go with this light wood board cork for now. If you want to change it, you can come back in here and change it, but make sure you don't use anything that looks like wood flooring. That's all. Maybe I'll go with this wood veneer too, which is similar to what I've been using before. Okay. And then it's a matter of just copying that over. So I can go ahead and type M for move, click on this endpoint, tap the control key, and then I'm going to be placing it right over here. And those are the doors. Now, if you want, what you can do then is tap the spacebar, click on the click on one of the groups, and then hold down the shift key, pick the other one, and then right click and make a group out of these two groups. So this is what I refer to as creating subgroups. So now that that's a group, I know that I would like to have those same bifold doors over on the other side. Now, it's going to be tricky for me to find the midpoint, so I'm not even going to try that, but I do want to mirror them over. So here's what I'll do. I'll come over here and use my flip tool. And, okay, didn't mean to do that. As soon as I start hovering, it wants to just pick all those different faces. Um, I'll go ahead and tap the control key. So now I know it's going to make a copy. And I'd like to make a copy. And notice how it will pick these different faces. And you're more than welcome to pick any of these. Like, for example, I'll pick this one. See how it made the copy there? And that's great. That's all I want. And then I can go ahead and type M for move. And I'll move them from this endpoint right here over. And if it doesn't, if you feel that it's not wanting to constrain, just go ahead and use the arrow key as needed to constrain it, bringing it over. And I'll just click right here on this endpoint. Now I've got that in place. All right. And like I said, you can go ahead and put in the other doors. Let me just finish this here and show you, because that door height should be the same as the other door heights. And this looks like it would be a door going all the way to the top. So switching up a little bit back to the walls, I'm going to double click in the group, and I will go ahead and quickly draw a rectangle from here over there. And yes, it did put a surface on the whole top. That's all right. Tap the space bar, click on the surface, delete it, click on the surface, delete it. Then type P for push pull. I want this surface. I'd like to take it straight down, but notice it's leaving a hole there. So tap the control key. That way it's going to make a copy, and then just let it align to that endpoint. Got it. Then switch over to X-ray, type E for erase, and start erasing. And be real careful. See how I still have my AutoCAD layers on? I'm going to turn that one off. That way it doesn't get in the way. And then erase. And I erased one too many lines there, so let me edit, undo, erase. And this is interesting, and something happened that is typical of SketchUp. So let me do this here, that one, and let's see, this one. Okay, and now, interesting. Let me turn off X-ray mode. You see that line there? As soon as I erase it, all of that disappears. This will happen every so often, and there isn't much that you can do about it to avoid it. So let me undo that erase and just come in here, tap the space bar, and take a good look to see exactly what's happening there. Sometimes you cannot pinpoint it. Sometimes it's hard. Maybe the surfaces are not aligned. Something is way off, and I can't tell what it is. So it takes a little bit of patience, actually a lot of patience. Um, I'll go ahead and try to pick that line and see how it's going all the way down. Fascinating. I will tap the delete key and I'm going to see if I need to reconstruct this because sometimes that is the case. So I'm going to draw a line from this endpoint all the way across, and it did close it up. That's fine. Tap or select the surface, delete it, and see what happens. So nothing there. So I may have created an issue if I zoom in here closely. You see that? You see how there's something going on. You see that? Very, very, very interesting. I don't think I drew that straight. Looks like that could be the problem. Let me erase these extra lines here. And now it's erased even more. So I may have done something wrong. That's very, very possible. So see how I deleted all that? And sometimes you have to take a really good look at these. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to draw a line from here, take it straight up, and that didn't close off. Now I'm going to come over here and see if I can fix that. I'll draw a line from this endpoint straight up. That's not fixing it. So I really, really did a number here. How about if I go from this endpoint across? And again, it keeps closing that off. I want that to go away. So interesting what happened there. I'm going to try again now. A line from here all the way across. No, it created a surface on the bottom, and that's not what I wanted. So I'm going to erase that. And here's sometimes the best solution is just back up all the way. So I'm going to use my Control Z multiple times. Okay. And here's where I started. Now I'm going to try this again, only this time, instead of just drawing the rectangle there, I'm going to draw a line from here all the way across like this. Great that it drew that surface. And then I'm going to draw another line from here all the way across. Got it. Tap the space bar, click on the surface, delete it, click on this surface, delete it. And now I'm hoping that this will work. We'll see. Let me turn off that A-plan layer again. There we go. And I'll try it again. So P for push pull, this surface straight down, tap the control key, lock it in, and look at that. Look at that. Interesting what it's doing. So I'm going to try to lock in right there and notice how it did some really interesting things here. So I'm going to try to erase and see what happens. That's working out. That's working out also. I'm saving the worst for last, by the way. I'm going to come over to the other side, erase that line, erase that one, and let's see. Let's see what gives. If I erase this line, oh, it's taking all of that away. All right. What if I erase this line? It's not letting me erase that line. Huh. Fascinating. Okay. Not a problem. And again, I'm glad this happens to me. Here's what I'm going to do. To avoid this, to try, trying to fix it is just sometimes not worth it. I'm going to draw a line from here all the way across. I know it's closing that up. That's fine. And I see that there seems to be a little extra thickness here because it looks like a line is just not in line with everything else. You see that? Something is off. And I'm not sure what that is. And instead of trying to resolve it right now, I'm going to do something else. I will erase that line. Well, erase more than that, and that's all right. I'm going to take this surface. Oh boy, hang on. Edit, undo, edit, undo. Okay. Um, let's do this a little different. Let's see what happens if I take that surface, this surface, if I delete it. No, it takes that away. This deletes that surface, and I still have a surface there. So this is fascinating. But again, I said I was going to do this a little different. So let me do this. Um, I'm going to draw a line from here all the way across, like I did before. I'm going to take that surface, delete it, take this one and delete it. I'm basically trying to isolate this out and just get rid of it so I can reconstruct a wall there. And it's proving to be a little bit of a challenge, and that's fine. I appreciate a good challenge. Draw a line from here straight across like that. Tap that, delete it. Okay. And then I'm going to see what happens if I try to push pull this straight down. No, it's push pulling something else. So that line didn't really separate anything. So I'm going to click right there, select the line and delete it. So that had no results. Let's try this again. Line from here and go straight across there. Okay. And then I take that surface and delete. And now this should be separated and it's not. So this is really interesting because that means it's not going all the way to the edge. So there's a bit of an issue here. And instead of redrawing everything, because I'm not going to, you shouldn't have to, I'm going to try to isolate the problem here by drawing some lines. Let me first of all take that line and delete it because it's having absolutely no effect. Take this surface, I'm going to double click it and delete. And then I'll take that line and delete. Yeah, see, something really odd is happening. And again, that's all right. I'll try drawing a line again, straight across. I'm going to constrain to green axis. And I'm actually going to go past that point. Something tells me I should. There we go. And then I'll erase this line. And I'll take this surface and delete. And then I will go ahead and erase this line segment, this one, all of this. Just slowly but surely. Actually, I went too far. Let me edit, undo that. I want to take this line, just like I have down there. I'm going to draw a line all the way across like this. It's constraining to green. Great. There we go. Erase this line. Erase this. All of that. I went too far. Edit, undo. I need to draw a line from here straight across like that. Okay. And then erase these two. And then erase this. Okay. Now I'm going to try this again with the existing line work and surfaces. And I'm going to bring back my wall layer like that. And I'm also going to go into X-ray mode. Okay. I'm still in the group. Yes, I can see the edges. Okay. P for push pull this surface out. Let it line up right there. Click on this surface, tap the control key, click here. And then one more, click, and bring it all the way to the end here, right there. Okay. Then take it out of X-ray mode because I want to see what I have. I have some extra lines here and I see that they are separate surfaces, so things are working a little better. I'll type E for erase, those two lines and this one. And now I'll go to the underside and try it this way. P for push pull, take that straight up, align it right there. And now let's see what happens if I erase this line and this one. Better results. I don't know why that happened. And again, it's going to happen. This is SketchUp. That's just how the program works. I've used it enough to know that a lot of times it's not really user error. It is really the way you start drawing some things out, and just the slight discrepancy can throw everything off. I think I erased all the extra lines. Let's see if I turn off a wall. Yeah. Oh no, I still have an extra line in there. Look at that. Get rid of that one. And on the ground, I want to get rid of those too. And that one. Okay. So I did a little bit of a reconstruct there, and I'm glad it took me away and allowed me to show you some of these um, issues that can happen. So I'll tap the space bar, go back over here, and now I will continue with my window openings. All right. So I'd like to say I'm sorry, I apologize, but at the same time, I'm glad because this could be happening to you as well, and I want to make sure that I address these things. Okay. Also, if I click on it, notice how the type now is undefined. That means that there's an extra line somewhere. Maybe this is the extra line right here. If I double click and I erase that line, yeah, are there any extra lines elsewhere? See, these things just tend to happen, and it's okay. Oh, maybe there's an extra line here. Nope. Nope, that's fine. So somewhere along the line. It doesn't matter right now because I'm not going to use any solid editing tools in the near future. So it's okay, but I just like to check them and I could see that there's some issue. I'm going to keep drawing and maybe it will resolve itself. If not, I have to take a really good look at those walls. And sometimes it's a matter of just drawing some lines on top of some existing lines to see what the deal might be. It's tricky, but you do have to take a good look at the model. And I'm pretty sure that something I did here is affecting that. For all I know, there could even be a double line somewhere that's creating the problem. And as I look around, you see that? You see this? There seems to be like a line, extra line right here. If I click one time, you see that? If I delete it, see how it's deleting that whole surface? So something is really, something interesting is going on here um, that I need to resolve. And it looks like there might be an extra line down here. You see that? If I delete that, no, it just takes that away. Um, I need to go back and just double check a few things. If I draw a line from this endpoint across like this, and then I draw a line from here across that way, let me turn X-ray on like this, right? There's something amiss right at that location. See that? So this line, is it going straight? I don't know. I mean, I believe it should be, but there seems to be a slight issue. Now, I resolved it up here. So what if, and you see that? Look at that line. It's not even highlighting all the way up to the top. If I delete that, and then I pick this line and delete that, now if I draw a line from this point straight down and I force the blue axis and then click here, now it's closed off. Now if I erase this line and this one, did that resolve the issue? That's the question. So I'll tap the space bar, click outside, click on it. Nope, it didn't. But I'll look around and see what the issue might be moving forward. But this is what I mean about keeping an eye on that group and making sure that it still has a volume. So I'll leave it alone for now, and I'll come back to it at another time. I want to keep moving forward with the window openings. Okay. So for the window, very similar to the way I constructed my doors and my door frames. Similar in that it's the same concept where I create a separate frame and then I create a separate uh, door. In this case, it's going to be a window. So I'm going to keep it real simple, and I'm just going to do a straightforward frame right here. So I'm going to zoom in like this. I'm going to switch this over to shaded. and then I'll start. I will go ahead and draw a rectangle from this surface over to this surface. Creates that, I'm sorry, from one corner to another corner to create the surface. Now I'll go ahead and offset. And I'll make sure that it finds the edge, clicking down like this. And I want that to be 2 inches. So I type 2 and enter. I tap my space bar. I click in this surface here and I delete it. And then I type P for push pull. I take this frame and I'll just push it in. Now, I want to push it in 5 inches and center it on this window. But if you wanted to, you can keep going around and look at that. Okay, it is creating the surface that I want. If you wanted to line up right there with the frame on the inside wall, you can do that and give it a click. See, so it lines up on the inside, lines up on the outside. However, I tend to stay away from doing that because I like to give thicknesses to show depth. For example, let me come over here. You see how creating this door here, look at this. There's my, let me turn on my shaded mode. Here's my brick. Here's my frame. Here's my door. See how every time it gets set back a little bit, it creates a nice effect, nice level of detail. Even with my glass, it's set back. So I always like to set things back a bit. So when I put in my door frames and my window frames, I'll make them 5 inches and I'll just center it on the opening. But if you want, once you create this surface, you can go ahead and just type P and push it back 1 inch if you want. So just type 1, enter. And then on the inside, you can do the same thing. Just come over here and tap the space bar and tap P for push pull. Sorry, let me tap the escape key. There we go. And now I click right here and I can push that in, let's say 1 inch, like that. That way, when you're in that space, it'll have that level of detail. So it's up to you. And then sometimes when it's a wood siding on the exterior, sometimes the frame is actually in front, just slightly in front of the wood siding. So keep those things in mind. As long as you're showing this depth going back and forth, you're going to be fine. All right. So that's the frame. And now I'm going to tap the space bar and I'm going to triple click, right click, and make a group. Now I want this frame to have the same material as I have on my door frame. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over to my door frame, and then I'm going to come over to my materials, and I'm going to click on the eyedropper. If your eyedropper is grayed out, that's because you may have accidentally clicked on edit. And when you're in edit mode, you can't see it. So make sure you're in select and then click on the eyedropper. And right now I want to sample this material. So I click on it and notice how it shows me that material. And now it wants to paint that material onto another object. In my case, another group. So I'm just going to come over here and I'm going to say, yes, apply that paint color right here. Done. So we're all set there. Then I tap my space bar and then time to put in my glass. So I draw my rectangle from one corner to another. I type P for push pull, bring it out 1 inch, space bar, triple click, right click, make a group. And then I'll add a glass material to this. So I come over to glass and mirrors, clear glass right there. And then I'd like to center it in the frame. So it's easier for me right now to turn off my 3D walls, focus on just my frame, go to my X-ray mode, and then come in right here. And if necessary, just go to hidden lines like that. And then I'll type M for move from this midpoint over to that midpoint. Bring it out. Glass is right where I want it to be. tap the space bar, see what it looks like. And then I'm going to select both, right click, and make a group. If you know you're going to have windows of the exact same size and same style elsewhere, you might want to make a component. But for now, I'm going to make a group. Done. Turn on my 3D walls, and I'll turn on my 3D foundation also, just to see what that's looking like. Okay, there we go. Now, coming over here, let's say I wanted this to be full height. So that's what I put in place. Same concept here. I'm going to draw a rectangle from this endpoint over to this endpoint. And then I find it so much easier to turn off my tags so that I can focus on just that window opening. I'll also turn off the doors. And I didn't put that on the doors, and that's all right. Let me tap the space bar, select, hold down the shift key, select, come over to my entity info and put those on the 3D doors, or tag them as 3D doors. There we go. Tap the space bar. And now this is what I'd like to focus on. So I'm going to offset, and I'm going to take it from the inside, and I'm going to offset it inward 2 inches. And then tap the space bar, click on this surface, delete it. And then P for push pull that surface, and I'll just push it back 5 inches like that. And now let's say that I would like to perhaps put in 2 more divisions here, just to kind of express that horizontal emphasis. Here's what I can do. Let me show you little, call it a trick, I guess. Let's see, what's the best way to show this to you? Okay. Uh, Before I even make a group out of it, I will go ahead and draw a line right. Let's say, actually, no, I'm not going to draw a line. I'm going to take this line here. I'm going to move it down. And in the process of moving it down, I'm going to tap the control key. And I want to bring it down exactly 2 inches. So I type 2 and enter. So now I actually have that surface. See that? Okay. I'm going to double click. It has that surface selected. Great. And remember what I said, I would like to have 3 divisions. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take that surface. I'm going to type M for move. And I'm going to pick right here on this endpoint. And it's going to start moving it down, but I'm going to tap the control key. And notice how it's going to start making a copy. And I do want a copy. And I want that copy to match and be right here. But watch what I'm going to do. As soon as I click one time, I immediately type the /, which is the key right to it's to the left of your shift key on the keyboard. So it's /, and that means divide. And I want to divide by 3. So I want it to have 3 equal spaces in between those 2 points that I just selected. And then I enter. And you see what it did? It gave me 3 equal divisions. I'm going to do that one more time. Edit, undo array. Okay, here we go. I double click in here. And then I type M for move. And I know that I want to pick it from that endpoint. Tap the control key. And I'd like to move it down so that it ends up right here on this endpoint. So let me just put the whole window in place. There we go. I want it to snap right there. And I click it. And then immediately /, which means divide, by 3. Enter. And excuse me, I have my 3 equal divisions. And now all I have to do is come to the other side like this. And I just need to push pull these. So I'm going to type P for push pull, click on it. But remember, let's see what happens on this side. Is it going to leave it with a void? No, it's not. So that's good. I don't have to hit the control key. So I'll just click right here, and then I'll do the same thing down there. Click there. There we go. And now if you want, you can go ahead and leave the extra lines in there because chances of me wanting this to be a solid that I then want to create a union with or subtract are very little to none. So it doesn't really matter. And this is just one window. But I personally recommend that you do remove all of the extra lines just because it's helpful. So give yourself a little bit of time and erase. And this is just a personal preference. Having been modeling with SketchUp for a while, I noticed that it's helpful to delete these extra lines in the long run. And perhaps, I may want to use this same window in a different project. I can bring it over. So I might be doing myself a favor here by cleaning this up so that I can continue to use it elsewhere. Okay, that was just me doing a quick cleanup and then tap the escape key, tap the space bar, go out of that mode, and then we got ourselves a frame. And then finally triple click, right click, and make that group. Bring back or turn on my 3D walls, and you'll see how it's fitting in there. But I want to center it in the space. So I'm going to take that frame, type M for move, and just move it from the midpoint of its own group to the midpoint of that group. There we go. Okay. I also wanted to have the same frame color as my other frames. So I need to bring back my 3D doors. There we go. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm going to go over to my materials, click on the eyedropper, select the frame, and then paint this frame. And then tap the spacebar, put the glass in. And you would think that I would put in the glass for every single one of these openings, but I don't. I go ahead and just draw a rectangle from the top all the way to the bottom like this. And then I'll go ahead and push pull that out 1 inch like that. Triple click it, right click it, make a group, assign the material. There we go. And then I'm going to move it into place, which is in the middle of that frame. And to do that, I'm going to go back to X-ray mode, and I'm also going to pick hidden line. That way the colors don't distract me. And then I'll type M for move from this midpoint to that midpoint. Here we go. Right there. Zoom it out. Tap the space bar. Click off of the object. Go back to showing my shaded with textures. Turn that off. And then I can continue. So this is the progress that you will have on your model and then some. I'm just quickly showing you the concepts so that you can apply them. So don't forget your stairs that you'll need to have. And if you want, by the way, if you decide that you would like to maybe put some wooden stairs on the outside away from this, you're more than welcome to. If you decide that you want your deck to be a wood deck, change the material. Just like you saw me change it to the inside of the building. Use your creativity, artistic license, whatever you'd like. I just want you to learn how to model architecturally here is all. Okay, I think I'll leave it there and I'll do a Control S to save it. And we're on our way. All right, thanks.